Cold Storage by David Koepp. In December 1987, Lieutenant Colonel Trini Romano and Major Roberto Diaz, operatives for the Defense Nuclear Agency, are tasked with a peculiar mission. They are sent to Australia to meet with Dr. Hiro Martins, a microbiologist who has received a disturbing report from a remote Aboriginal community called Kiwirrkurra. Years earlier, a piece of debris from the Skylab space station had fallen near the community, and it seems that a dormant fungal organism within the debris has been reawakened and has undergone a dangerous mutation, now exhibiting extremely aggressive and lethal properties. The fungus, dubbed Cordyceps novus by Dr. Martins, has infected and killed all 26 residents of the community. Trini, Roberto, and Hiro travel to Kiwirrkurra to investigate, and upon arriving, find the town deserted and the rooftops covered with the burst-open bodies of the deceased residents. They find the source of the outbreak, a rusted oxygen tank from the Skylab debris, now covered in a flourishing growth of Cordyceps novus. Hiro collects a sample of the fungus, intending to bring it back for further study, much to Roberto's dismay. He argues that the extreme danger of the organism necessitates its immediate destruction, but Trini sides with Hiro, and they proceed with their plan to take the sample. Hiro explains that the fungus appears to be mimicking the reproductive pattern of the Ophiocordyceps genus, which takes over the bodies of insects, compelling them to climb to high points and burst, spreading their spores. The residents of Kiwirrkurra, driven by the fungus to climb to the highest point they could find, had climbed to the roofs of their homes and met their demise. As they are leaving the community, Dr. Martins, unbeknownst to her or the others, accidentally becomes infected. She quickly falls under the control of the parasitic fungus, which compels her to spread its spores. She attempts to force the others to take her to a radio tower, the highest point in the area, where she intends to climb to the top and burst, spreading the spores far and wide. Trini, who has noticed Roberto's attraction to Hiro, warns him off, and the two have a tense confrontation. When Trini intervenes and prevents Hiro from getting to the radio tower, Hiro turns the gun on herself, ensuring the integrity of her biohazard suit and preventing the immediate spread of the fungus. The sample is taken back to the United States, where it is eventually stored in a secure sub-basement level of a decommissioned military storage facility at the Atchison salt mines in Kansas. The extreme cold of this sub-basement is intended to keep the fungus in a dormant state, and the facility is subsequently sold off and converted into a self-storage business. Roberto, Trini, and others involved in the mission attempt to warn their superiors of the danger of the fungus, but are ignored or dismissed. As the years pass, fewer and fewer people recall the events in Australia and the true danger of Cordyceps novus. In March 2019, Travis Meacham, a young ex-con working as a night security guard at Atchison Storage, is drawn to his new co-worker Naomi Williams, a single mother working her way through college. Naomi has been struggling with depression and has made several bad decisions in her life, but is determined to provide a good life for her daughter Sarah and achieve her dream of becoming a veterinarian. Tea-Cake, still on parole after serving time for a crime he was talked into committing, is grateful for the opportunity to work at the storage facility and determined to make something of his life. He is immediately drawn to Naomi and attempts to engineer a way to get to know her, even going so far as to follow her home one night after work. They discover a hidden control panel from the facility's days as a military installation, with a flashing warning indicating a temperature breach in the sealed sub-basement. Driven by curiosity and boredom, they break through a wall and discover a schematic of the facility, which reveals the existence of this sub-basement and a way to access it via a tube ladder. Tea-Cake and Naomi make their way down to the sub-basement, where they discover the source of the temperature breach, a thriving colony of Cordyceps novus, which has escaped its container and is now spreading through the facility. They also find a rat king, a horrifying mass of rats fused together at their tails by the fungus. Meanwhile, Mike Snyder, Naomi's ex-boyfriend and the estranged father of her child, has returned home from an extended stay in Uganda. Having been unsuccessful in his attempts to join the Peace Corps, he instead joined a construction brigade working in Uganda, where he was given the nickname Mooney. he is carrying a dark secret. He has been infected by Cordyceps novus, which he unknowingly picked up when he parked his car on top of a fungus-infected cockroach that had escaped from the storage facility. The fungus compels him to spread its spores, and he attempts to infect Naomi and others in the area, killing a deer and a cat along the way. Mooney, racked with guilt and seeking redemption for his past sins, including getting Naomi pregnant and abandoning her and their child, plans to give the dead animals a proper burial and then seek penance at the local abbey. However, his plans go awry when the animals come back to life and attack him. Roberto Diaz, now retired, receives a call from the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, alerting him to the situation in Atchison. Having been one of the individuals involved in the original Australian mission, Roberto understands the extreme danger posed by Cordyceps novus and travels to Kansas to contain the outbreak. He has been struggling with the transition to retirement, finding his days to be unfulfilling and missing the excitement and purpose of his former career. He is grateful for the opportunity to be of service again and to put his skills and experience to use in a meaningful way. He brings with him a T-41 cloudburst, a man-portable nuclear weapon intended as a last resort to eradicate the fungus. He has prepared extensively for this mission, reviewing old reports and white papers and ensuring that he has all the necessary equipment. Tea-Cake and Naomi are tasked with taking the weapon down to the sub-basement and activating it, while Roberto stays above ground to prevent the escape of any infected individuals. Roberto manages to kill Mike, but is himself injured in the process. He is trapped and unable to move when the fungus, invigorated by a sudden rainstorm, begins to spread toward him. He manages to shoot off the hinges of the front door, which falls over and creates a barrier between him and the approaching fungal mass. Meanwhile, Griffin, the manager of Atchison Storage, and several of his associates have come to the facility to retrieve stolen merchandise. Griffin has been storing a cache of stolen televisions in one of the units and is meeting with a group of buyers to unload them. They are attacked by Mike and become infected. Griffin manages to escape and finds Roberto, intending to steal his car keys and leave him to die. As he is pointing his gun at Roberto's head, he is distracted by Naomi and accidentally shoots himself. Tea-Cake and Naomi, unaware of the situation unfolding above ground, make their way back to the surface and discover that Roberto has already activated the timer on the nuclear device, knowing that it was their only chance of escape and survival. They race to escape the facility and manage to get a safe distance away just before the device detonates, destroying the storage facility and eradicating Cordyceps novus. In the aftermath, Roberto, Tea-Cake, and Naomi are hailed as heroes. Travis's criminal record is expunged, and he and Naomi begin a relationship. Roberto reflects on his experiences and the sacrifices he has made over the years, and comes to terms with his newfound peace in retirement. He is grateful for the opportunity to have made a difference in the world and to have saved countless lives. He knows that he will never forget the events of this night and that they will stay with him for the rest of his life. Meanwhile, Tea-Cake and Naomi have adjusted to their newfound fame and are navigating their relationship in the wake of their shared experience. Naomi's daughter Sarah has become somewhat of a celebrity, having saved her mother and Tea-Cake from the exploding deer. She has taken the opportunity to revisit the Willy Wonka film that so terrified her, and is now gleefully fascinated by Violet Beauregard's transformation into a giant blueberry. She has even taken to wearing a purple dress and calling herself Violet. Naomi is grateful for the opportunity to spend more time with her daughter and is hopeful for the future. She and Tea-Cake are planning to move to a new town, start fresh, and put the events of this night behind them. If you enjoyed this book breakdown, please consider liking this video and subscribing to get notified when we post our next breakdown.